Guyana is experiencing one of the most dramatic economic transformations in modern history, a tidal wave of oil wealth catapulting its GDP to unprecedented heights. Yet, for its citizens, a new and paradoxical reality is taking shape. A potential Trump administration is threatening to erect a modern-day Iron Curtain, not of ideology, but of immigration. This is the clash between sovereign wealth and sovereign borders. On one side, you have Guyana's staggering oil boom. Billions of dollars are flooding into national coffers, funding massive infrastructure projects, and positioning the nation as a global energy player. This wealth is creating a new class of highly skilled professionals, ambitious students, and savvy entrepreneurs. Exactly the profile of individuals who traditionally seek educational and business opportunities in the United States. On the other side of the immigration debate, a proposed Trump visa ban looms large, rooted in a series of restrictive policies such as the expanded public charge rule. This rule, which was introduced to make it more difficult for immigrants who might rely on government assistance to enter or remain in the United States, has sent ripples of anxiety through communities around the world. The policy is not just a bureaucratic hurdle, it's a signal, a message that the doors to opportunity are narrowing for many, especially for those from countries that have historically faced barriers to entry. The Trump administration's approach to immigration was marked by a sharp increase in scrutiny, with new layers of paperwork, interviews, and background checks that made the process more daunting than ever before. Among the nations directly affected by these changes is Guyana. Heightened ideological screening, where applicants are questioned not just about their finances or family ties, but about their beliefs, intentions, and even their social media activity, has become a new norm. For many Guyanese families, the dream of visiting, studying, or working in the United States now comes with a sense of dread. The process is fraught with uncertainty, as even those who have prepared meticulously can find themselves turned away with little explanation. The anxiety is palpable in the lines outside the embassy, in the tense interviews with border officials, and in the worried faces of families hoping for a better future. The message is clear: entry is no longer a given, even for those who have played by the rules. The brutal irony of these policies is hard to ignore. They are designed, ostensibly, to filter out those who might become a burden on the American system. Yet, in practice, they often end up blocking the very people that Guyana's recent economic boom is producing: wealthy, educated, and highly skilled individuals. The oil boom has transformed Guyana's economy, creating a new class of professionals and entrepreneurs who are eager to travel, invest, and build bridges with the wider world. These are not people seeking handouts, they are people with resources, ambition, and a desire to contribute. But the new visa restrictions do not distinguish between those who might need support and those who could offer it. Instead, they cast a wide net, ensnaring everyone in a web of suspicion and exclusion. For many, it feels like a door is being slammed shut just as they are finally able to knock on it. This approach to immigration policy reveals a fundamental disconnect, a view of Guyana that is stuck in the past. The United States, once a beacon for those seeking opportunity, now seems to be looking at Guyana through an outdated lens, failing to recognize the country's rapid transformation. Modern Georgetown is a city of gleaming buildings and bustling innovation, a far cry from the images of poverty and underdevelopment that may linger in the minds of policymakers. New infrastructure projects, a thriving tech sector, and a growing middle class are reshaping the nation's identity. Yet, the policies that govern who can enter the U.S. seem blind to this evolution, clinging to stereotypes that no longer reflect reality. In doing so, they risk not only excluding those who could enrich American society, but also missing out on the chance to build stronger, more dynamic connections with a rising nation. Around the world, we are witnessing the rise of new forms of economic segregation, barriers that are not just physical, but deeply embedded in the global financial system. These modern divides are often invisible, yet their impact is profound, shaping the destinies of entire nations and their people. In the case of Guyana, a country experiencing rapid economic growth due to its newfound oil wealth, these barriers are taking on a unique and troubling form. Guyanese capital is increasingly welcomed in international markets. Investors and multinational corporations are eager to tap into the country's booming energy sector, and Guyanese business leaders are finding doors open to them in boardrooms and investment conferences around the world. The nation's financial resources are seen as valuable, and its capital is courted by global players seeking new opportunities. Yet, for ordinary Guyanese citizens, the story is starkly different. While their country's money is welcomed abroad, They themselves are increasingly being treated as outsiders. Visa restrictions, heightened scrutiny at borders, and a growing sense of suspicion mark their attempts to travel internationally. Many find themselves denied entry or subjected to lengthy interrogations simply because of the passport they carry. This paradox highlights a troubling reality. Guyana's wealth can move freely across borders, but its people cannot. The nation's money enjoys a kind of global passport, flowing seamlessly into foreign banks, investments, and projects. But for the citizens themselves, the world is becoming more closed, more suspicious, and less accessible. The contrast is stark. On one side, we see the ease with which capital travels, digital transactions, investment deals, and financial agreements that cross borders in seconds. On the other, we see long lines at embassies, frustrated travelers facing rejection, and families separated by bureaucratic hurdles. This is economic segregation in a new form, a world where money is free, but people are not. The proposed travel barriers risk isolating Guyana at a critical moment in its development. As the country emerges as a significant economic partner, these restrictions threaten to cut it off from the very networks and relationships that could help it thrive. The message is clear. Guyana's resources are welcome, but its people are not. In response, Guyana may be forced to look elsewhere for allies and opportunities. As traditional partners close their doors, the country could deepen its ties with rival global powers, such as China or Russia, who are eager to expand their influence in the region. This shift could have far-reaching consequences, not just for Guyana, but for the balance of power in the Americas. Ultimately, these new forms of economic segregation threaten to create lasting diplomatic fissures in America's own backyard. As borders harden and alliances shift, the world risks becoming more divided, by wealth, by opportunity, and by the invisible walls that separate people from the promise of a better future. This isn't just a visa dispute, it's a fundamental question of whether new money can buy a new reputation, or if old prejudices will forever dictate who is allowed to cross the border. To navigate this complex and ever-changing landscape of global power and policy, you need the most current, unfiltered information. We are committed to bringing you these critical stories. Guyana's oil boom is not just a national story, it's a global one. The influx of oil wealth is positioning Guyana as a key player in the global energy market, attracting investments from major international corporations. This chapter explores the global implications of Guyana's rise as an energy powerhouse. With great wealth comes great responsibility. The environmental impact of Guyana's oil extraction is a growing concern. This chapter delves into the environmental challenges and the measures being taken to ensure sustainable development. The oil boom is transforming Guyanese society. From job creation to improved infrastructure, the social impact is profound. This chapter examines how the newfound wealth is changing the lives of ordinary Guyanese citizens. The influx of oil wealth is also reshaping Guyana's political landscape. This chapter explores the political dynamics and the challenges of managing such a significant economic transformation. Guyana's rise as an energy powerhouse is altering its international relations. This chapter examines how the country is navigating its new role on the global stage and the diplomatic challenges it faces. As we look to the future, Guyana stands at a crossroads, a pivotal moment in its history, where the decisions made today will echo for generations to come. The country, long known for its lush rainforests, vibrant rivers, and rich cultural tapestry, now finds itself thrust onto the global stage. The world's eyes are turning toward this small South American nation, curious to see how it will navigate the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. For decades, Guyana's story was one of resilience in the face of adversity, of communities bound together by hope and determination. Now, with the discovery of vast oil reserves off its coast, the narrative is shifting. The promise of prosperity is real, but so too are the risks that accompany such rapid transformation. With its newfound oil wealth, the nation has the potential to transform its economy and uplift the lives of its citizens. The oil fields off Guyana's coast have attracted the attention of major international energy companies, bringing with them investment, technology, and expertise. Billions of dollars are expected to flow into the country over the coming years, creating opportunities for job growth, infrastructure development, and improved public services. For many Guyanese, this is a moment of hope, a chance to break free from the cycles of poverty and underdevelopment that have long plagued the nation. The oil sector, if managed wisely, could serve as a catalyst for broader economic diversification, spurring growth in agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, and technology. The government has already begun to outline ambitious plans for the future, envisioning a Guyana where prosperity is shared and opportunity is accessible to all. However, this journey is fraught with challenges and uncertainties. The history of oil-rich nations is filled with cautionary tales. Stories of wealth squandered, of societies divided, and of environments irreparably damaged. Guyana must tread carefully, learning from the experiences of others while forging its own unique path. The sudden influx of wealth can bring with it inflation, corruption, and social unrest if not managed with transparency and foresight. There are concerns about the capacity of existing institutions to handle the complexities of the oil economy and about the potential for political tensions to escalate as different groups vie for a share of the new riches. The stakes are high, and the margin for error is slim. The prospect of sustained economic growth brings hope. Investments in infrastructure, education, and public services are already underway, with new roads, bridges, and schools rising across the country. These projects are more than just symbols of progress. They are the foundation upon which Guyana's future will be built. Improved transportation networks will connect remote communities, making it easier for people and goods to move across the country. New schools and educational programs will equip the next generation with the skills they need to thrive in a rapidly changing world. The government is also investing in digital infrastructure, aiming to bridge the digital divide and ensure that all Guyanese have access to the opportunities of the 21st century. These efforts are critical, not only for economic growth, but for social cohesion and national unity, and healthcare could create a more prosperous and equitable society. Modern hospitals and clinics are being built, and new training programs are being launched to ensure that doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals are equipped to meet the needs of a growing population. Public health campaigns are targeting preventable diseases, while investments in clean water and sanitation are improving quality of life in both urban and rural areas. For families across Guyana, these changes mean better access to care, healthier children, and a brighter future. The hope is that, as the country grows wealthier, no one will be left behind, that every Guyanese, regardless of background or circumstance, will have the opportunity to live a healthy, fulfilling life. But the question remains, can Guyana manage its resources effectively to ensure long-term stability? The answer will depend on the strength of its institutions, the integrity of its leaders, and the vigilance of its citizens. Transparent governance is essential, as is the establishment of robust legal and regulatory frameworks to oversee the oil sector. The government must work closely with civil society, the private sector, and international partners to build systems that are resilient to corruption and capable of adapting to changing circumstances. Financial analysts and economists are watching closely, offering advice and warnings in equal measure. The choices made in the coming years will determine whether Guyana's oil wealth becomes a blessing or a curse. Emerging from an era of relative obscurity, Guyana now faces the challenge of maintaining social cohesion amidst rapid change. The country is home to a rich tapestry of cultures, languages, and traditions, and this diversity has long been a source of strength. But rapid economic growth can strain social bonds, as new wealth creates winners and losers, and as communities grapple with the pace of change. Urbanization is accelerating, with people flocking to cities in search of opportunity. Traditional ways of life are being disrupted, and there is a risk that some groups may feel left behind. Maintaining a sense of national unity will require deliberate effort, inclusive policies, and open dialogue between all segments of society. The influx of wealth might lead to disparities, as the gap between rich and poor widens. Already there are signs of growing inequality, with luxury development springing up alongside neighborhoods that still lack basic services. The challenge for policymakers is to ensure that the benefits of growth are broadly shared, and that no one is left behind. This will require targeted investments in education, healthcare, and social protection, as well as policies to promote inclusive economic growth. The government must also address the needs of vulnerable groups, including women, children, and indigenous communities, who may be at risk of being marginalized in the new economy. And managing these socioeconomic shifts will be crucial. Community leaders, social workers, and civil society organizations are stepping up to help guide the transition, offering support and advocacy for those most affected by change. Public forums and town hall meetings are being held across the country, giving citizens a voice in the decisions that will shape their future. These conversations are not always easy, but they are essential for building trust and ensuring that all perspectives are heard. The hope is that by working together, Guyana can build a more inclusive and equitable society, one that reflects the values and aspirations of all its people. Environmental stewardship is another pressing concern. Guyana is home to some of the world's most pristine rainforests, teeming with biodiversity and playing a critical role in the fight against climate change. The country's natural beauty is a source of pride for its people and a draw for tourists from around the globe. But the oil boom brings new risks, as increased industrial activity threatens fragile ecosystems. Deforestation, pollution, and habitat loss are all potential consequences of unchecked development. Environmental activists are raising their voices, calling for stronger protections and more sustainable practices. The government faces the difficult task of balancing economic growth with the need to preserve the country's natural heritage for future generations. As the world grapples with climate change, Guyana's choices will have implications far beyond its borders. The country has already made significant commitments to environmental protection, including the preservation of vast tracts of rainforest and participation in international climate agreements. But the pressure to exploit natural resources is immense, and the temptation to prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability is real. Flooding, rising sea levels, and extreme weather events are already affecting communities across Guyana, underscoring the urgent need for action. The world is watching to see whether Guyana can chart a new course, one that demonstrates that economic development and environmental stewardship can go hand in hand. Guyana must balance its economic ambitions with the imperative to protect its natural heritage. This means investing in renewable energy, promoting sustainable agriculture, and enforcing strict environmental regulations on the oil and gas sector. It also means engaging local communities in conservation efforts, recognizing the vital role they play in safeguarding the country's natural resources. Protected areas and nature reserves are being expanded, and new initiatives are underway to promote ecotourism and sustainable livelihoods. The hope is that, by embracing a green economy, Guyana can become a model for other nations facing similar challenges. In the political arena, the stakes are high. The management of oil wealth has the potential to reshape the country's political landscape, for better or for worse. Political leaders are under intense scrutiny, both at home and abroad, as they navigate the complexities of this new era. The risk of corruption and mismanagement is ever present, and the need for strong, accountable institutions has never been greater. Parliamentary debates are increasingly focused on issues of transparency, governance, and the equitable distribution of resources. Civil society organizations are playing a vital role in holding leaders to account, demanding openness and integrity at every level of government. Transparent governance and robust institutions will be key to navigating the complexities of this new era. The establishment of independent oversight bodies, the strengthening of anti-corruption laws, and the promotion of a free and independent press are all critical steps. Civil servants are being trained to manage the complexities of the oil economy, and new systems are being put in place to ensure that public funds are used wisely. The judiciary is also playing a crucial role, upholding the rule of law and ensuring that justice is accessible to all. These efforts are essential for building public trust and ensuring that the benefits of the oil boom are shared fairly. Ensuring that the benefits of the oil boom reach all corners of society will require visionary leadership and unwavering commitment. Leaders must be willing to make tough decisions, to put the interests of the nation above personal or political gain. They must also be willing to listen, to engage with citizens, to learn from experts, and to adapt their strategies as circumstances change. Community projects and volunteer initiatives are springing up across the country as ordinary Guyanese step forward to help shape the future. These grassroots efforts are a testament to the resilience and determination of the Guyanese people, and a reminder that real change begins at the local level. Ultimately, the future of Guyana will depend on the choices its leaders and people make today. The next generation is watching, eager to see what kind of country they will inherit. Young people are stepping up, getting involved in politics, business, and civil society. Families are making decisions about their futures, weighing the opportunities and risks of a rapidly changing economy. Elections are taking on new significance as citizens demand accountability and a voice in the decisions that will shape their lives. The choices made now will determine whether Guyana becomes a beacon of hope and progress or falls victim to the pitfalls that have ensnared other resource-rich nations. Will they chart a course towards sustainable development and shared prosperity, investing in education, healthcare, and green technology? Will they build an economy that is resilient, diversified, and inclusive? The potential is there, and the world is watching to see whether Guyana can seize this moment and create a brighter future for all its people. New businesses are opening, entrepreneurs are innovating, and communities are coming together to build a better tomorrow. The hope is that by working together, Guyana can become a model for other nations, a place where prosperity is shared and where the environment is protected for future generations. Or will they succumb to the pitfalls that have ensnared other resource-rich nations? Only time will tell. The dangers are real. Corruption, inequality, environmental degradation, and social unrest have plagued many countries that have experienced sudden wealth. The so-called resource curse is a cautionary tale, a reminder that prosperity is not guaranteed and that the choices made today will have lasting consequences. Protests and public debates are a sign of a healthy democracy, but they also reflect the deep anxieties and hopes of a nation in transition. The headlines may focus on the risks, but the story of Guyana is still being written. But one thing is certain, Guyana's journey is just beginning, and the possibilities are as vast as the country's landscapes. Each sunrise brings new hope, and the faces of Guyanese children reflect the promise of a brighter future. The streets of Georgetown are alive with energy and ambition as people from all walks of life come together to build a nation that is strong, united, and resilient. The challenges are great, but so too is the spirit of the Guyanese people. With determination, vision, and a commitment to justice and equity, there is no limit to what Guyana can achieve, and the world will be watching. As Guyana steps onto the global stage, its choices will serve as a beacon or a warning for other nations facing similar crossroads. The eyes of the international community are fixed on this small but mighty country, eager to see whether it can chart a new course for sustainable, inclusive development. The story of Guyana is far from over. In fact, it is only just beginning. The next chapter will be written by the people of Guyana themselves, by their hopes, their dreams, and their determination to build a better future for all.